Good morning, everyone. So I want to share something, and I think it's really important. Throughout the Bible, I have never heard anyone take personal revenge in prayer, in the scriptures. Um, in the past, they've all gone to God to fight their battles. Psalms is loaded with it. David always praised and worshiped God first. He went to him with his concerns, and God handled it his way and his timing. He didn't be cast in. He didn't like screaming, Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit was mentioned in the very beginning. That would be in Genesis when he created the earth, and then he said, let's make man in our image. So it was Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And then throughout the years, sacrifice, the lamb had to be perfect because it was God's plan to bring his son in. It's pretty fascinating. Levites covers that thoroughly, and it was really cool because when I learned that part, I didn't realize it until the very end, and then I think I watched a preacher, and then she laid it all out. It was really cool. So what I want to make really clear here is we don't use God to be vengeful. You don't want to ask for a car accident. You don't want to ask specifically for what you're looking for God to revenge, right? Because God takes care of that. We don't have any authority to use God's name to be revengeful in that way. You can go to him for your concerns. You can talk to him about how you feel, because what you put out can come back to you, and that's frightening. I mean, I've heard it, and for years, people would say certain things, or hey, let me pray for you, and I didn't even realize until I'm sitting outside and I realized, you know what? Jesus never ever asked for anyone to be condemned. He could have, because if you remember correctly, the soldiers said to him, if you are who you say you are, take yourself off that cross. That's tempting God, and he knew that, just like when he was tempted in the desert. But I never once heard Jesus ever speak ill toward his enemies in that fashion. There's a lot of different cultures and religions out there, but they take scriptures from the regular Holy Bible, but their words and actions are not matching up. What happened to me is I asked the Lord to forgive them, for they did not know what they were doing. I didn't ask for anything else. He hung out with me through my sorrows. He took care of me. He helped me get through it. He had the right tools for me. I'm worried about how I can get right-minded. But going out there screaming, I want them to get in a wreck, give them what they deserve. When I ask, I go to Father for anything. I don't care what it is. And I'll ask him, can you, I'll give you a good situation. So there was this man in our community, and I caught him taking pictures of the kids dancing. And I had a feeling, it was an ucky feeling that I had inside. I didn't like what he was going to use those pictures for. And so I asked the Lord to take care of his cell phone, so he couldn't do those things by watching the kids play. They were dancing, and it just creeped me out really bad. So about a week later, I was telling one of my friends, his activities, and I didn't feel comfortable with it, and I asked the Lord to handle it. And she told me he had an accident a couple days earlier. He had fell flat on his face, nose was broken, both his eyes were bruised severely, and that his phone was completely shattered. There was no getting anything back on that phone. And this was before everything was attaching from your phone to photos in the internet. And so I didn't ask for any of that to happen. I just asked for the phone to be destroyed so he couldn't do his lewd acts using my daughter and another child. It's disgusting. And but I didn't take those vengeance. I didn't ask for any of that. And we should never, ever do that. So when I realized what was going on, Father gave me Psalm 60. and you can read it yourself. And it's in the you can, you can read it in any Bible. It doesn't matter. But I just want to make that real clear. Go to Father and heal yourself, and ask Him to help with any situation. We don't have a right to do it this way. And I've talked about that in the past. Because, I mean, I had this acquaintance who just wished so much harm on me. And she was doing really bad things behind my back. I've seen things happen to her in front of my face. And I'm a mile away from her. You know what I mean? She's like yelling my name, help me, as she's falling flat on her face in the roadway. And she gets up with all this dirt on her. And I knew right away she was doing bad things behind my back. And I told her, I don't know when you're going to ever learn. You got to stop doing that. To anyone, not just me. You know, I had a guy I dated years back, and I went to go find one of my uncle's plots so I could see him. And he walks over a grave, right? Instead of walking around it, he walks right over the top of it. He hit the ground. Me and that leader were like, what's wrong? Just something just knocked me on his butt, you know. We're looking at him like, you're crazy, you know what I mean? You know, he could have been making it up, but he seemed pretty terrified. He was white as a sheet. And he knows something knocked him down. So, you know, just think before you do. Love, please love, because that is what's going to keep you. Okay? Alright, peace. God bless.